guys, welcome back to another video of Always Something Garage. So from the last 250 video, we pretty much stripped the whole thing down to bare frame. I think the last couple of clips showed you guys the motor, and we were thinking that something was wrong with the motor from the first part video from the Raptor when we bought it. Kind of heard that rod knock or whatever we heard. Something was definitely not happy in the motor. So this video, we're going to be fully tearing apart the motor, and we're going to see what's actually wrong with it. So go down in the comments, let me know what you guys think is wrong with it, see if you can guess it. But other than that, let's get into the video. So as you can see, my dad did a little soda blasting on it. We had the whole thing together, so why not go in and soda blast it. So I think from the last video, you guys seen how grimy and dirty it was, all stained. So it's a little bit better. Well, of course, we're gonna take all the cases out, and we'll really deep clean it and see if we can bring it back to factory new. But it looks good. Definitely better than what it was. But just took the timing chain cover off, so we're gonna slowly start ripping the whole motor apart, and we'll let you guys know if we find anything that's wrong with it.
Definitely got it. Somebody's jammed it up. There you go.
Well, there's the piston, guys. It's definitely newer.
Yeah.
There's no combustion on the top of the piston head. Looks like it's barely even used.
Yeah. I think he put it in there, and I think he sold it. I think he knew he had other issues than that. It wasn't necessarily the piston.
Get me to hold that on the side.
Yeah.
So we got the cylinder here, and the cylinder doesn't look too bad. We thought we were going to see something, worse, but
Well, we do have this issue here. This is the nickel sill. These cylinders are aluminum. So this is aluminum, and they coat it with a nickel plating instead of a steel cylinder like the old bikes used to have. So it's a cheaper way of doing it, but you can definitely, can you hear it? It's definitely, that's the top of the rings get right to there. So that's definitely probably causing some blow by. The other thing we noticed, there's no cross hatching in it. Nothing at all. You can see it's smooth as can be. So this motor is new. I have a feeling they didn't have a ball hone or anything, even a Scotch-Brite to etch this up. So these cylinders get glazed over time. Your rings seat in and they get glazed. And if they would have probably honed this out, it probably wouldn't have smoked as much. And when we saw that back pressure, when we first looked at the bike, that it was creating back pressure down in the cylinder. So it had a lot of blow by in the rings. That's how, we found out the bike had some issues. But still, this rod right here was not going to last. That's this is a lot. You can't see it, but that bearing is gone. So that bike would have eaten itself probably in the next 10 hours.
Well, took the head off, the cylinder off. Now we're looking at the piston and the rod. As you can tell, see if we can, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but we got some rod play.
The bearing is gone. So that's the reason why we saw the metal in the filter, is that bearing has been eaten up.
Which we said, my dad went through the filter, of course, cut it open, said the material felt just old. So who knows? It could have been the factory, or even a really old filter they just never replaced. If it gets all junked up, no oil's going to go through it. It's not going to breathe. Because that's like, we opened the motor up, the oil smells really, really burnt. Like it's nasty smelling. And then, like, you've seen that video from us, changing the oil and draining the oil. That oil was black sludge.
Not too bad. It's brand new. Shouldn't be bad. The only bad part about it is, I think, the oil, but it's not bad. No scarring. It's got a little wear mark on it, but that's normal. I think we're going to be able to use this piston again. That'll be good.
So that should be the factory cam, supposedly.
Yeah, looks fine. We have that other cam, I think. See what that is. We can put that in. Bearing seems good. Okay, so we're gonna need to pull the rocker arms out of the way so we could get to the valves, to the valve retainers, and pull the valves out. They're shaft style rockers, so this shaft runs through the rocker arm. I pulled the other one out already. They're pressed in there. So a couple different ways you can do it. I was using my slide hammer here. It worked on the other one. Another way is to actually use a plate and a bolt and actually draw them out. But let's see if we can get this other one out. There she is. It's just an M6 bolt, so they're threaded. So you can do this. So that worked out pretty good. High performance, dual springs. Nice and tight. We're worried about the valve guides, but I think we're tight now. So why is it not coming through? Stuck. So we can't get the valve out. It's stuck right at the top. Could this valve be bent? Trying to spin it to see it. Doesn't look like it, but it feels stuck right at the top. We pulled the valve seals out of it, thinking it was getting hung up on the valve seal, but it is literally stuck at the top. So we're gonna have to investigate that. Okay, we found out why the valve won't come out. If you can see, the top of that valve, it is mushroomed. So hopefully you can see that in the light there. So must be the rocker arms. Yeah, that's interesting because that would be the adjuster on the rocker arm here. And it looks a little beat up. So I'm wondering if at one point the valves were so loose, it may have rocked around. But anyway, I'm going to try to file this off and get it out of here. There she goes. Valve is pretty beat up. We might put new valves in this thing. Might as well, if we pulled it this far apart. Very happy. Nice. Nice and tight. But as the other one, this one won't come off either. So we know what we got to do. Let's see the head of this. Yep, it's mushroomed over. See it right there. Actually, it's a burr. So let's file that down. We'll get that exhaust valve out of there. Oh my goodness. That one's definitely got a burr in it. Let me pull this valve. See what. Look at that buildup of carbon on there. She definitely was blowing oil, and you know, we saw it was smoking, so that's a big contributor. Oil is leaking into the cylinder. It's coming up in combustion and it's just burning, and it's caked on the top. But again, replace these valves. That's a cheap fix. Then we know we've got good valves. So I like it.
So I guess we're leaving off where we started. Today we're going to be slowly cracking open the case and then getting to the crank. So we took apart the clutch. And surprisingly, the clutch was in really good condition. Like we, suspected, the whole bottom end of this motor is completely factory still. Like, the cases have never been split before, which is a great sign. So we're gonna be splitting the case and taking a look at the crank. That's like we said, that showed that one video of the crank bearings were completely gone in it. So hopefully when we take it apart, hopefully there's not anything worse. But we're going to be splitting the cases, taking a look at the trans, the crank, and everything. So I'll show you guys that, and we'll get started.
All right, guys, so we got the cases cracked and separated, pulled the trans out of there, looked at the gears. I mean, everything is beautiful. I mean, the shift drum itself, barely a mark. The shift forks, which I was worried about, shift forks look great. I'm going to pull this crank out here in a second. I need to press it out of there with one of my tools. But what I wanted to show you, what we did find laying in the bottom of the crankcase when we separated. If anybody can guess what that is before I say it, you're right. That is the C-clip, circlip for the piston pin. That clip is what holds the piston pin on this rod. So when they replace this piston, which we know the kid, it has a new piston, whoever did it for him, popped this out, and it dropped down in this cavity. Remember the other crankcase here? There's a big hole right here. Dropped it down and got into the crankcase. Thank goodness that thing didn't get tangled up in the crank or in the gears and probably, had a catastrophic failure. But a lot of things we've seen in the past of people doing that. So when you crack take your head and your cylinder off and you go to pull your piston off, you fill this void, you put a rag in there. Stuff a rag in there, because if you drop this, at least it falls on the rag and you can pick it up. But if you don't have anything, it falls right down into the crankcase. Thank goodness it didn't get caught in. But we already know the crank is damaged, but it could have did a lot more damage. That's your motor noise. Up and down. Rod knob.
Well, guys, that'll be the end of this video. You guys seen pretty much just taking the whole motor apart, all the way down to taking the crank out. So, I mean, everything looks pretty good in the trans, as part, just brand new. It looks good. Other than, I mean, you guys seen that crank play, and so that's an issue. We'll have to order a new crank for it. And then the only thing we have to do for the case side is just clean them really good, get them back to looking factory. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys go down, hit the like, subscribe to the channel for more awesome content, and we'll see you guys in the next one.